I definitely, and the Senate definitely appreciates it. But we won't show the appreciation to the, so it is not approving arms and arming of more persons that this will be the solution. We appreciate. And again, in appreciation of that, we are getting more concerned about the proliferation of small arms and light weapons in the country. It is not the absence of laws, it is the unwillingness of persons who ought to enforce these laws. Yes, possession of arms is offense. The states have a right to prosecute for offenses. How many states, how many attorneys general of states have prosecuted any person for possession of arms? How many? And how many states in the Federation have the police? How many of them, or to what extent has the police prevented or criminalized the possession of small arms? I just heard some days ago that the Force Public Relations Officer at the headquarters issued a statement that the order on the possession of arms, or the right to import arms, is still in force, and that the police will not issue more licenses for more people to bring in arms or to own arms or something like that. To me, this is an action too little, too lackadaisical. It is not capable of addressing the situation. It is ostriching, because the police know the real solution to this matter. It is that every person that carries all the herdsmen, and in some states of the country, it is taken as part of dressing to wear arms. It is taken as part of dressing to wear arms. And the police have not arrested or questioned these persons. Why are you carrying arms? Let's go to the magistrate courts in each of these states, to the high court in each of these states, and find out how many persons are being charged. Charged alone, not being convicted. How many? Let's go to the police stations and ask for the entries. How many people have been arrested and entries made on possession of arms? Again, I ask, how did we get to this point? I will urge Mr. President at this stage and the federal executive that the best we can do now is to we've addressed the insurgency in Yobe, Adamawa, and some parts of the north. Yobe, Borno, Adamawa, and some parts of the north. And I want to use the opportunity to congratulate Mr. President for the successes and congratulate the armed forces for this success. Congratulations. But something needs to be done so that the entire country don't degenerate to where we are now. We should set up some kind of either an inquiry or a judicial commission of inquiry or some investigations. How do we solve the problem of the Fulani farmers, herdsmen? Because these are part of the people who do part of how this problem degenerates to where we are is the right of persons of the farmers to protect their farms and the right of the herdsmen to protect their animal. Now, each person claims the right to possess arms to protect themselves. And we should find a solution to this. And we find out, how do we solve the protein problem in this country? How does Britain, United Kingdom, and all that do? Can we not leave the traditional, ancient method of carrying this, herding this cow from one place to the other? Yes, it was necessary at that time. In the ancient days, let me use the word ancient so that Nigerians will be angry. I want to use the word ancient so that to make Nigerians angry. It was right in the ancient days to move cattle from one place to the other when there is a weather change here and there is no more grass or vegetables for the animal to consume. We move it to another place. And we created the traditional herdsmen routes, what they call the cattle routes at that time. As at today, I think the cosmopolitan nature of each of the states in Nigeria, the level of consciousness of the people, the need to balance the availability of protein by making the cow meat and cattle available, and the need to battle fruits and other crops, vegetables available, planted by another set of people, have to be balanced. And we have to think whether each of these states should not create in different parts of the state what is done in other countries, which is creating bans, creating settlements for these persons, which is continually and continually grassed and for grazing. And how are these animals fed in those countries that we even import them from? Are they fed in this manner by blood of men, fed by the herdsmen with arms, fighting and taking over a community, burning houses just for the purpose of having their animal to eat and graze upon the farms cultivated and owned by people, which is the source of their livelihood and what they use in paying their children's school fees? Can't we balance it? I urge Mr. President to look at this situation, create an investigation, create a committee to look at this, create a committee, and each state also can also find out this. We shouldn't leave everything to Mr. President. Each state has votes for this. Each state, the governor is the chief security officer of his state, and they should determine how do we solve the peculiar problem of our state.
So that basically brings us to the question, because a lot of people are saying that that's the reason why the governor of Zamfara state is asking to arm his vigilante groups. He's thought long and hard about this, and he's saying, well, community policing, fine, but also we have these vigilante people that we think that we should arm, just in case, marauders are coming in. Some people say it's an indirect way of saying, well, if we can't have state police, well, we have to have something else.
Yes, I agree that there may be some rationale to have state police. But at the particular stage of the political development of Nigeria, I think it would be dangerous, very dangerous, for us to allow states have state police. And to allow the governor of Zamfara or the governor of any state to arm its own vigilante would be breaching the law. And it is not a resolution of the Senate that can allow anybody to arm its own vigilante. It is not because there is a law, there are laws on the possession and illegality of the possession of arms. Now, I do not agree on state police matter. Most of my colleagues agree, but I do not agree. And of course, we have taken a position on the matter of state police, because Senator, we heard all the people. What we should do is to ensure that we allow the recruitment of screened, sanitized, and refined young men into the police force, train them in the application of arms, and train them in internal security. To allow for arming of vigilante will be recruiting and creating another security situation in those countries. Today, the greatest, the highest investment and expenditure is on security. And we have too many security agencies. We have the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Navy, the Nigerian Army, Navy, Air Force. We have the State Security Service. We have the police. We have the Internal Security Force. We have several of them. Several of them. If we take an audit, what we spend, I think we should not allow states to create this kind of situation. And it will appear as if the federal government and the federal security forces are not capable of protecting the citizens of this country. This is why the Senate, in the wisdom of the Senate, it says, rather than allow that to be done, we will rather urge Mr. President to deploy more security forces to Zamfara State. As of today, we are scared because by the last count, we understand that the armed forces are engaged in security operations in about 28 out of the 36 states of the Federation. And I think this should be sufficient. But if it is not sufficient, we have to attack more areas that are vulnerable. And we are engaged, and the Senate and the National Assembly approved on operation in the 3 states where emergency rule was declared: Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe. And I think that may have that has engaged a lot of the forces. And of course, I don't believe that the governor of Zamfara State had made any special request to the president for deployment of extra policemen or requested any of this from the Inspector General of Police, and he was not given. I don't think he did. And that is why we were reluctant in the Senate to approve that particular request. And of course, if you watch the video of the proceedings of the Senate, you saw that it was almost unanimous that we said no, don't. On the one that the president should deploy more security to Zamfara, it was not near unanimous. It was actually unanimous. Pen drop silence, unanimous. Pin drop silence, unanimous.
We'll have to end it here owing to time, but we will get across to you subsequently because, I mean, there's a lot to talk about on this matter. In the meantime, thank you very much indeed for speaking with us today on Sunrise Daily.